Mist hugged the mountains, blurring the world into secrets. Only the lantern lights, hundreds of them, softly pulsing above the peaked roofs, showed where the village of Lira stood against the nighttime sky. At the edge of the square, Mina crouched behind the old well, heart pounding, eyes locked on a single drifting orb. It shimmered blue-green and dipped so low she could almost touch it. But tonight, there was no time for wonder. Panic rippled through the streets. Voices carried, sharp and urgent. "Another lantern's gone dark! The boundary's breaking!" Mina's master, Elder Joran, found her first, his robe a tangle of constellations in lantern light. "You saw something," he breathed. His gaze flicked past her to the missing light in the sky. "Didn't you?" "It was different," Mina whispered. "That spirit, it cried for help." He pressed something into her palm, an ancient brass lantern etched with indecipherable runes. Instantly, warmth buzzed up her arms. "The spirits heed the Lanternkeeper," Joran said. "Tonight, that's you." Mina's voice caught. "But I'm not ready." A distant rumble split the air. Black mist crept from the forest's edge, hungrily devouring the light. Joran's eyes darkened. "Ready or not, you must keep the boundary strong or dreams, yours, mine, everyone's, will lose their place. Go." A gust of wind nearly stole the lantern from her trembling fingers. She squeezed it harder, meeting Joran's steady gaze. He nodded once, full of trust. She ran, feet slapping cobblestones, shadow at her heels, heart ablaze with purpose and fear. Behind her the villagers watched the sky, and Mina realized if she failed, the boundary would shatter. Dreams and nightmares would pour into the world and nothing would ever be the same. She ran faster. In that moment, the lonely apprentice became the Lanternkeeper, and the mountain trembled, awaiting the girl who would guard the dawn. Mina hurtled down narrow lanes, the trembling lantern sending lances of warm light into the growing dark. With each hurried footstep, shadows writhed across deserted doorways, whispering about secrets she never wished to hear. She reached the edge where the cobblestones crumbled into wild grass. Here, the world felt strange and thin, as if torn between two heartbeats. The black mist gathered, swirling at the forest's edge, swallowing the distant howl of something not quite animal. Mina drew a shaking breath and held the brass lantern high. "I am the Lanternkeeper! Spirits, heed me!" Her words hung, barely more than hope. At first only silence. Then, tiny sparks shimmered in the mist, first one then many, circling her ankles, rising in gentle spirals. A shape began to coalesce, the wisp of a dream, half forgotten, glowing with sad blue light. "Why do you wander, spirit?" Mina whispered. It flickered, voice a whisper twisted by regret. "I am a wish unkept, lost when hope fell. The darkness calls me home." Fear bit her chest, but Mina remembered Joran's teaching. Compassion guides, not command. "Will you come with me? I promise to carry you to the dawn." The spirit hesitated, then drifted into the lantern's glow. Warmth filled Mina, tinged with sorrow, until shrill cackling rattled the branches. From the dark, something stirred. Long fingers, hungry eyes, a silhouette stitched from nightmares. A gravelly voice rasped, mocking and cruel. "Lanternkeeper, how bright will your light burn when all the sky turns black?" Mina stepped back, cradling the lantern as the shadow crept closer. She could not run. Not now. Instead, she planted her boots in the grass and forced her voice steady. "This light is not just mine. It belongs to anyone who dares to dream, including those the darkness forgot." The shadow snarled, but as Mina's words echoed, the gathered spirits roared in their own way. 1,000 glowing motes driving back the dark. For a moment she saw awe flicker in the nightmare's gaze, then with a hiss it vanished among the trees. Mina's chest heaved. The world snapped into sharp relief. A single step had carried her deeper into danger, but she'd also claimed a sliver of courage not even she knew she held. Somewhere in the village, more lights faltered. Mina pressed on, the lantern's burden beginning to feel just a little lighter. With the spirit safely nestled in her lantern, Mina forged deeper into the wild woods that ringed her village. Trees arched overhead, branches tangling like grasping fingers. The air thrummed with fear and anticipation, every snap of a twig a warning she might not be alone. As she walked, the lantern's glow formed a path over tangled roots. The spirits inside hummed, sometimes mournful, sometimes bright, each a reminder of a dream someone had once dared. Mina kept her pace brisk but cautious, her mind buzzing with questions. A new voice halted her. "You don't belong this deep. What are you running from, or running toward? A boy, pale as moonlit stone, leaned against a mossy trunk. His eyes glinted gold, unnaturally old for someone who looked no older than Mina. At his feet, a fox with two tails watched, wary but curious. Mina squared her shoulders. Nightmares took a lantern. I'm taking it back. Who are you? The boy grinned, not unfriendly. Call me Fen. This is Whisper. He nodded at the fox. You can trap dreams, Lanternkeeper, but can you tame them? Mina eyed him uncertain. Will you help me? Help you? Maybe. Test you? Definitely. Fen snapped his fingers. Instantly the shadows thickened, condensing into a riddle, each word tugging at Mina's heart. If your light shatters, what darkness remains? When hope is but embers, what flame can you claim? Mina's hand tightened on the lantern. Whisper circled her, brush tail flicking. The wood spun, disorienting, and for an agonizing second, Mina felt alone. All the stars switched off, every dream gone dark. But then, a single note from the lantern, bright as sunrise. Mina remembered the words she'd spoken to Joran, to the spirits, even to her own fear. If my light shatters, I'll build another. I'll gather hope from the ruins, and where there's even one dream, I'll keep the flame. Light flared from the lantern, scattering the illusion. Fen stepped back, a crooked smile on his face. Clever. Most run from their shadows, but you face them, and you learn. Whisper patted to Mina's side, nudging her hand. Fen's eyes softened. Every Lanternkeeper needs a fox to outwit the darkness. You've earned her trust if you want it. A rare grin tugged at Mina's lips. Allies, then? Allies, Fen agreed. He melted into the trees, leaving only laughter and hope behind. Whisper settled beside Mina, true as a promise in the gathering gloom. The deeper woods awaited, full of secrets and dangers, but for the first time Mina and Whisper walked together, a little less afraid. Night thickened as Mina pressed on, the lantern's glow shifting with each hesitant step. Whisper trotted at her side, scanning the darkness with keen, intelligent eyes. Their progress felt slow, every branch threatened, every shadow harbored doubt. At the edge of a half-fallen bridge, Mina paused. Below, black water swirled, broken lantern lights reflected like lost stars. Whisper gave a soft, warning yelp. Somewhere ahead, a lantern sputtered, its spirit caught, unable to rise. A voice echoed from beneath the rickety planks, gentle and trembling. Lanternkeeper, help! Mina dropped to one knee, peering through the cracks. A child's shape formed from shivering blue mist, tethered by vines of shadow. Whisper leapt ahead, her twin tails flicking at the inky binds, but the darkness recoiled and bit back. Mina steadied her breath and held out her lantern. You don't have to fear the night, she whispered. Your dream is not forgotten. Can you reach for me? Just a little. The child spirit whimpered. What if I fall? Mina remembered her own bones shaking, the cold of the unknown, the first day as apprentice. Sometimes falling is the only way to fly. I'll catch you. That's the Lanternkeeper's promise. She set the lantern on the bridge, its light intensifying, casting a golden path to her hand. The child spirit stretched, trembling, faith flickering in its eyes. Whisper barked encouragement, dancing on nimble paws. Bit by bit, the spirit inched free, until the shadow vines wriggled, fighting to drag it down. Don't let go, Mina urged, straining, feeling the lantern's power pulse inside her chest. She reached, heart racing, fingers brushing mist. With a final surge, the spirit leapt into her lantern, shattering the vines. The darkness splintered, shrieking as it scattered over the water. Mina stood, breathless but triumphant. Another dream rescued, another light added to her lantern. A hush fell. Whisper pressed close, her fur warm against Mina's ankle. Across the bridge, a faint golden shimmer marked the safe path ahead. Mina squared her shoulders and led the way. With every spirit saved, she realized the boundary brightened, and her own courage, once scarce, now flickered with the promise of hope. But farther up the mountain, the darkness waited, gathering strength. Something old and hungry stirred, testing her resolve with each uncertain step. Moonlight filtered through the trees, painting strange riddles across the path as Mina and Whisper ventured higher. The rescued spirits brightened the lantern, casting skeins of color onto the forest floor, but the world around them felt heavier, thick with magic and old hurt. The air sharpened. Hushed voices ahead, earnest, desperate, drew Mina closer. She crept behind a veil of brambles, Whisper at her heel. In a clearing stood two villagers, arms locked in argument. Lanterns at their feet flickered an uneasy yellow, caught between hope and despair. Mina weighed her choices. She hadn't seen anyone she knew. These two appeared strangers, but the village's fate might depend on every flicker of light. Whisper chuffed, nudging Mina forward. "You heard what they said," the younger villager hissed. "Nothing can help us now. The spirits are breaking free and we're next." The older one shook his head, voice quivering. "Not if we believe. The Lanternkeeper always comes. It's the old promise." Inhaling courage, Mina stepped into the glow. "I am the Lanternkeeper. What's happened?" Both villagers spun, eyes wide with shock and wary hope. "A nightmare stole our lantern," the older murmured, wringing his hands. "And now it tries to twist our wishes. It offers everything we ever wanted, but something feels wrong." The younger spat in the dirt. "It says it can give us back time, lost love, anything. But the price is our memory of the dawn." Mina's heart lurched. She knew the danger. In the realm between dream and waking, even hope could be corrupted. Dreams are gifts, not bargains. Shadows lie? "Do you trust me to free your lantern?" They nodded, shadows of relief softening their faces. Whisper led them deeper into the clearing, where a beast, that same shapeless nightmare, unfurled from the roots, eyes glowing with stolen wishes. "Lanternkeeper," it purred, its voice a caress that scraped nails down Mina's soul. "Would you trade your fear to spare theirs? Would you give up the thing you hope for most?" Mina's hands shook on the lantern. She glanced at Whisper, felt the rescued spirits humming inside, and straightened. "No, true dreams don't demand a price. I offer only what is freely given." As she spoke, the lantern blazed. The beast shrieked, shrinking from the radiance, dropping the captured lantern at Mina's feet. She caught it, heart thrumming, and returned it to the shaken villagers. "Remember the promise," she urged. "Dawn will come. Hold it close." As the villagers melted into the night, hope beginning to restore itself, Mina pressed onward, feeling stronger and a little less alone. The nightmares were cunning, but Mina now understood. Her role was not to strike bargains with shadows, but to light a path through them. The true quest still stretched before her, winding ever closer to the mountain's heart. Mina's steps crunched over frost-bitten leaves as she and Whisper pressed higher into the mountain's haunted embrace. In her lantern, the rescued spirits shone in vibrant colors, swirling with possibility, yet the air around them grew cold and brittle, scraped raw by the ever-encroaching darkness. A sudden crack split the silence. Whisper tensed, ears flicked back. Mina spun, holding the lantern high. The shadows heaved and parted, and a woman stepped out, wrapped in violet robes threaded with silver. Her eyes shimmered like sunrise caught in dew, and the copper staff at her side hummed with memory. "Lanternkeeper?" The woman's voice was low and even, but tinged with awe and worry. "I am Sarah, a dreambinder. I keep the oldest wishes, those that risk unraveling the world." Mina hesitated but nodded. "I am still learning." Sarah eyed the lantern, then Mina herself. "The shadows are feeding on broken promises. If they reach the summit, the heart of the boundary, they'll devour every border between waking and dream. You cannot do this alone." Whisper glided forward, nose twitching at Sarah's robe. "What must we do?" Mina asked, hoping her voice hid how frightened she felt. "There is an oath long forgotten," Sarah replied. "It binds a Lanternkeeper, a dreambinder, and a spirit of cunning." She glanced at Whisper and then produced a folded slip of parchment etched with runes. "You must choose. Take my vow, let our magics braid together, or try to climb alone. But no, in unity there is power." Mina thought of Elder Joran's certainty, the villagers' trembling hope, the gaping darkness gnawing at the stars. Her journey alone had brought her this far, but her lantern felt heavier for it. She took the offered parchment, tracing the delicate rune. "I want your help." They joined hands, Mina, Sarah, and Whisper pressing a paw atop the others. As Mina spoke the words, she felt an ancient current surge through her, raw, wild magic, a blending of hope, memory, and guile. A wave of brightness surged from the lantern, rippling through the woods. The encroaching darkness hissed, shrinking back for now. Sarah drew a shaky breath. "We've only delayed what's coming, but you're stronger now. At sunrise, meet me on the high crest. There our true test begins." As Sarah disappeared into the mist, Mina clutched the parchment, heart fluttering. Surrounded by newfound unity, she realized she was braver than she'd believed. But the mountain's secret still beckoned, and time was running out. With Whisper's tails brushing her hand, Mina pressed on through the thinning night, lanterns shining a little brighter with every step. By dawn, the forest had thinned to wind-twisted pines clinging desperately to the mountainside. Mina's breath clouded before her, each exhale mixing with the cold brilliance rising to the east. She walked beside Whisper, paws nearly silent in pale grass, and clutched the lantern where hope flickered fierce and unyielding. Atop the high crest, Sarah awaited, staff planted firmly in the stone. She looked different, older maybe, her eyes deeper with worry and the hint of past battles. Around them, the sky glowed with drifting lanterns. Some burned bright gold, but too many guttered, their light threatening to blink out for good. Sarah gestured Mina closer. "Ready, Lanternkeeper?" Mina breathed deep, squaring her shoulders, as I'll ever be. Whisper brushed against Mina's calf as Sarah traced a rune circle between them. Silvery threads spun out from Sarah's staff, connecting the trio and anchoring their feet to the mountain's ancient stone. The spirits in Mina's lantern surged upward, weaving themselves into the growing tapestry of light overhead. "If the boundary is to survive," Sarah intoned, "your lantern must channel the hopes of not just one, but all. We will lend our strengths. The rest is yours." Suddenly, the sky above churned. A maelstrom of shadows, larger and wilder than ever before, twisting between the lantern lights. From its heart, a figure appeared, robed in darkness, crowned in stolen lanterns that shed only gloom. The adversary at last. She spoke with a voice older than the mountain. "Your light is only borrowed. Give up the lantern, and your village will wake free from dreams forever. No nightmares, but no hope either." Mina's fists tightened. Sarah's hand trembled on Mina's shoulder. Whisper bared her teeth. "Dreams are part of life," Mina called, voice clear. "Even broken dreams matter." The shadow woman sneered, descending. Lanterns flickered violently. Fear prickled Mina's skin. What if the darkness was right? What if, by fighting, she doomed them all? But Sarah squeezed her arm and Whisper growled encouragement. Mina remembered her journey. The spirit saved, courage found, every stumble that made her stronger. She lifted the lantern high, eyes blazing. "I keep the promise. I protect the boundary. We face you together." Power surged, a web of defiance and hope stretching higher with every word. The adversary recoiled, shadows writhing, but the battle had only just begun. As the mountain itself rumbled, old secrets rising from its deepest heart. Together the unlikely trio faced the dark, about to test if unity or despair would decide the world's fate. Thunder split the sky above the high crest as the adversary's shadow spread, smothering many lanterns until the mountain rang with howls of despair. Mina's heart lurched at every light that winked out, but she steeled herself, keeping both hands locked on the lantern. Sarah flanked her, lips moving in silent invocation, while Whisper darted, flame bright, at the edges of the encroaching gloom. The woman of shadow drew closer, her voice weaving through Mina's mind. Thick and honeyed. "You've saved a few dreams, child, but I command the forgotten wishes, the failures, the ones who gave up. They hunger for the world you defend." Sarah's magic spun tighter, sending arcs of silver toward the darkness. "She'll not give in," Sarah called, her staff blazing with old starlight. "You underestimate the strength of hope, even when it falters." The shadow woman laughed, flicking the attacks aside. Her form grew and warped, swelling with every whisper of doubt from below. "One by one, all lanterns fail, and when yours breaks, the boundary crumbles for good." The lantern in Mina's grip flickered. Shadows pressed in, cold and clever, each one trying to draw out her greatest fear. Failure, letting everyone down. The village lost forever because she had never been enough. A sudden rush of motion, Whisper leaping, baring her fangs at a tendril of shadow about to wind around Mina's ankle. "Focus!" Sarah shouted. "Dreams are born from risk. Remember your oath." Mina squeezed the lantern, bracing against the darkness, clawing at her doubt. With a trembling breath, she closed her eyes and spoke. "Spirits, dreamers, those broken and those hopeful, lend me your light. Even if I fall, let hope remain." The lantern erupted in a blaze of every color Mina had ever seen. Spirits danced free, old, new, some shaped by sorrow, others by joy. Lantern lights spread across the mountaintop, knit through the runes Sarah had laid, and into Whisper's leaping shape. For a moment the shadow woman faltered, pieces of her warring between rage and longing. Sarah intoned, "The time nears, she's weakening, but the greatest trial still waits, Mina. The boundary's heart must be restored." Below them, the mountain's roots cracked open, spilling forth a stair of molten stone leading deep beneath. The lantern pulsed, called onward. Whisper yipped, tail aglow, and Sarah gripped Mina's hand. "We go together," Mina whispered, fear and courage battling in her chest. The adversary screamed, rallying darkness for one last descent. With allies at her side, Mina stepped onto the burning stair, venturing into the mountain's heart, where broken wishes would decide the fate of both dream and waking worlds. The stair spiraled downward, heat pressing on Mina's skin as shadows twined along the carved stone. Each step echoed with voices, old regrets, lost friendships, the ache of dreams abandoned. Whisper's tails glowed, guiding their way. Sarah's staff flickered, but even her light faltered against the deeper dark. At the heart of the mountain they found it, a vast chamber pulsing with energy, veins of crystal and magma threading the walls. In the center, suspended over an abyss, spun the boundary's heart, a sphere of shifting light surrounded by a storm of fractured spirits, grief and longing swirling in eternal orbit. The adversary waited, coiled around the heart, her form immense and ever-changing. Lanterns blinked on her crown, sickly and cold. Her laughter dug beneath Mina's skin. "Here is where hope breaks, Lanternkeeper. Face what you most fear, or lose everything to endless night," Sarah called. "She can't face this alone. Join hands." They formed a circle. Mina's trembling hand clasped with Sarah's strong grip, Whisper's paw pressing warmth into her palm. Shadows stabbed at their unity, each blow a memory Mina had tried to forget. Her father's distant gaze, her childhood fear of being left behind, the endless feeling of not belonging. "Why keep the promise?" the adversary crooned. "The world grows tired of dreams. Let darkness take them. Let your lantern finally break." Mina nearly buckled. But then she felt the lantern's hum in her chest, the spirits she'd saved, the hope she'd inspired, the risk she'd taken. Whisper pressed closer. Sarah's voice rose in a steady chant, and the circle blazed with a shared light. In that moment, Mina realized, unity, not perfection, was the true magic. "Dreams fail so they can be tried again," Mina shouted, channeling every lesson learned. "We hold the light together. My lantern's promise isn't just for me, it's for everyone." Her words fanned the lantern's flame. The circle's light shattered the nearest shadows, sending cracks racing through the adversary's form. But the darkness fought back, pulling at the very heart, twisting the chamber in howling wind. Mina's fear was laid bare. She almost let go, almost surrendered. But Sarah and Whisper's presence gave her strength. Through the chaos, lantern spirits rose, Mina's allies, each a spark of hope rekindled. The adversary shrieked, shards of shadow splintering off, but her voice remained. "If you ignite the boundary's heart, you burn not just the dark, but every unfulfilled wish. Are you willing to do what is truly needed?" The chamber shook, forces converging for one final choice. Mina realized the journey was more than just saving dreams. It was about facing hard truths. She turned to her friends, heart pounding with terror and courage. "Stand with me," she pleaded. "We'll restore the boundary. Together. No dream, no person is ever alone." As the chamber blazed with their joined light and shadows whipped in fury, Mina reached for the heart, ready to make humanity's boldest promise yet. The greatest test and the story's end awaited with the next breath. Mina's hand hovered, trembling, above the boundary's heart. All around her, fractured spirits surged and wailed, some pleading for release, others terrified of belonging to the world again. Sarah's chant swept into a crescendo. Whisper's fur bristled with undaunted resolve, but Mina's fear was raw. In igniting the heart, she risked burning away every lost and broken hope along with the lurking darkness. "What if I destroy too much?" Mina's voice broke, swallowed by storm and shadow. A single spirit, a tiny flame she'd saved on her very first night, rose from the lantern, flickering gently. "Keeper," it whispered, "we grow not just by perfect dreams, but also by daring to hope again. Accept all of us, even the broken, and your light will never fade." Tears stung Mina's eyes. She drew deep the courage of her companions, and all the village's flawed, brilliant souls. She pressed her palm to the edge of the glowing sphere and declared, "Let every spirit, bright, wounded, bold, or afraid, have a place in the dawn. The Lanternkeeper's promise is not to erase the darkness, but to light the way through it." For an instant, silence held the chamber. Then a shattering flare of color erupted from the heart, threads of every dream, fulfilled and broken, knitting together in a glorious spiraling web. Mina felt each spirit's essence, laughter, sorrow, wild hope. They pulsed through her and outward, purest unity. The adversary's form, once towering and vengeful, cracked and diminished, shadow-weaving, unraveling before Mina's resolve. Her cry was one last plea. What remains if dreams always fight the night? Mina met her gaze, steady and gentle. What remains is us, together. The shadow burst apart in a shower of fading lanterns. Sarah caught Mina before she staggered. Whisper leapt joyfully, scattering runes of light across the chamber. The mountains settled. The heart spun in tranquil glow, the boundaries restored, stronger for having welcomed every spirit, not just the hopeful, but the lost and the learning too. Outside, the village's lanterns blazed anew, colors richer and higher than ever before. Mina returned as dawn crested the peaks, greeted not as a solitary hero but as the first Lanternkeeper who kept her promise by including everyone. The dreamers, the doubters, the ones still finding their light. Joran met her at the gate, eyes shining. "You've changed the world, Mina." She smiled, humble, wiser, no longer afraid of the dark. Whisper circled her ankles. Sarah, now friend and mentor, walked proudly at her side. And so in the mountain village where myth and reality once walked the same blushing dawn, hope was kindled again. Because one girl, once filled with doubt, had dared to guide both dreams and shadows into the light, proving the Lanternkeeper's true promise. No one is ever lost if someone carries the flame. The sky glowed brighter than ever, lanterns rising, a new story beginning with every light.